Good morning, everyone. Time for another episode of How Much to Keep, and this one's going to be hard. This one is going to be difficult to calculate, and I'll say it right now. If there's one player that I go over in this series that I'm way off on, it'll probably be this guy. It would make all the sense in the world for this guy to get a lot more or a lot less than I project. There's a wide range. Talking about DJ Reed, cornerback, picked up off the sidewalk in San Francisco last year, or well, now 2 years ago. He's been pretty good for us ever since. I'd say last year he was really good, honestly. On a team with very limited pass rush, he played really well. So let's take a look at what we got with DJ Reed because there's some stuff that is working really well for him and some stuff that is really working against him. So working for him, he's young. He's only 25. Got a lot of good years in front of him. That's is going to help him get paid a little easier. The coverage metrics that he had last year were really good. He allowed less than 50% completion in coverage. He missed 3 games, but less than 50% is pretty remarkable for a cornerback. 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, QB rating allowed of less than 68. By the way, it should be pointed out that he played 3 games out of position and played pretty poorly in those 3 games. So if you take that out, he had an amazing season. His numbers are overall pretty good. He's got 4 interceptions over the last year and a half, basically. He's got a pretty good tackle count. He's got a very low rate of missed tackles. If you look over here, since he got to Seattle, he's only missed 8 tackles. So, less than 7%, around 6% missed tackle rate, which is good for a cornerback, especially for one of his size. But that's going to count against him a little bit. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that's working against him a little bit. I would say his size. He's only 5'9", so a lot of people are going to look at him and go, that to me looks like a nickel cornerback. I don't think I want to play him outside like we were. Some defenses are going to look at that as a non-starter. Also not working in his favor would be the fact that he has no pedigree. He was a 5th-round pick, and San Francisco basically threw him away. They thought he was not even worth trying to trade for a 7th-round pick. Not even worth keeping around for some tiny rookie salary. They just said, phooey on him, out of here, and we picked him up, and the rest is history. So there's definitely some stuff working against him. He's not a prototypical cornerback at all. It's not like his numbers are bouncing off the screen here. But he's going to get paid. The question is how much and by who. All right. So DJ Reed's PFF grade this most recent season was remarkable. It was almost 79. Almost 79 despite, again, very little pass rush and playing out of position in 3 games. PFF really likes him, and that should help provide a sort of baseline for how to look at DJ Reed as a player compared to some other guys. So let's go to the cornerback list sorted by average annual value. We can go past the first group. He's not a Jalen Ramsey or a Marshawn Lattimore. He's not going to get paid like Marlon Humphrey. Let's get past this crew. Guys like James Bradbury and Trey Waynes and Marcus Peters, William Jackson, they have like 1st-round and 2nd-round draft pedigree that I think is going to prop them up a little bit, even if some of the numbers may be comparable. So I don't think we're there yet. Shaq Griffin. Okay, let's start the conversation at Shaq Griffin, who last year signed a deal that gave him $13.33 million per year for 3 years, $40 million total. Now I know he won't see most of that money, but still, that's the contract he got. That's where we're going to start. Shaq Griffin has the size. He's got the measurables. He's got the physical attributes that people look for in a cornerback. He's got a little bit of a pedigree because he was a top 100 pick. It's not amazing, but it is more than what DJ Reed has. Shaq Griffin has made a Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl in 2019. He had 3 interceptions in 2020. He was groomed under the Pete Carroll tree, which is known for producing some really quality things at cornerback over the years. I think that's got to be a factor as well. And over his tenure in Seattle, especially the last 3 years in Seattle, we did not have much of a pass rush, so he was working uphill for sure. But at the end of the day, if you take a look at the coverage metrics for Shaq in 2020, They are well below what Reed gave us in 2021, and Reed was working with a bad pass rush too. Shaq Griffin in 12 games got targeted 87 times, 62% completion allowed, 650 yards, 6 touchdowns. So clearly the coverage metrics are not as good for Shaq as they are for DJ Reed. And PFF, if you look at Shaq, they just thought he was okay in 2020. They gave him a grade of 64, a little better than average. Decent player, decent starter, but not really somebody you're excited about. Now, Shaq Griffin, there were a lot of extenuating circumstances there. Also, you got to remember he got signed by a team that probably has to overpay players to get them to go there because it's such a dark situation right now in Jacksonville for that franchise. But we're already not that far away from a reasonable comp, right? At 13 and a third million. So you can see how the price can get a little crazy. Okay, back to the list. Stephon Gilmore, that was a while ago. I'm going to try to stay away from that. Adoree Jackson, though. Adoree Jackson signed 3 years, 13 mil a year last offseason for the Giants. What did he do to get that contract? He missed most of 2020. He barely played. 2019 played 10, 11 games. Excuse me. He played decent, I guess. Some of these counting stat numbers are okay. 2019 coverage numbers, 67% completion, 400 yards, a touchdown. It's like, is this really worth $39 million? PFF, they liked him. 76.2. That's close to what Reed was, but it's actually lower. Now, Adoree Jackson had one thing really working in his favor. He was a first-round pick. He had that pedigree, and people who were looking to pay him were probably looking at something like that and giving him more of a benefit of the doubt than they will for Reed. So I don't think we're there yet. And Adoree Jackson, he's a little bigger. He's got more measurables than Reed, but we're not that far away still, man. Okay, Joe Hayden, he was 30 when he signed this contract. I'm not really looking there. Got guys like Bradley Roby, Logan Ryan. These guys are pretty comparable, and they signed for more than 10 mil a year. So, again, I have to reiterate pretty strongly here, there's going to be some money thrown DJ Reed's way. You could easily compare him to a guy like a Bradley Roby or a Logan Ryan. Let's look at Kendall Fuller, who signed after the 2019 season with Washington for 4 years, 40 million, so 10 mil a year. Kendall Fuller in 2019, let's take a look here. He won the Super Bowl with Kansas City, so he probably got overpaid off of that, but he played 11 games, no interceptions, 2 pass deflections, less than 50 tackles, 1 sack. What's he really doing here? 2019 coverage numbers, allowed 78% completion. Now, he didn't play as much as he did the previous year, but the previous year, I mean, look at this. 800 yards allowed in coverage, 67% completion, 2 interceptions, but, I mean, this is not anything to write home about. Not really. Kendall Fuller's PFF grade in 2019 was 61.4. In 2018, it was better. It was close to 72, but can we really say that Kendall Fuller should be getting a bigger contract than DJ Reed based purely off their abilities? I mean, I know Kendall Fuller probably has a little more measurables. He was a third-round pick. He's bigger, probably a little bit faster in the 40 time. But that price tag, we're already pretty darn close in my book. So I think the high point for Reed's deal, I think you'd set it at about $11 million a year. Let's just keep going. Ronald Darby, yeah, he was a little bit older when he got this deal, but after 2020, he got 10 mil a year from the Broncos. Ronald Darby in 2020 to earn that deal was, for Washington, a pretty good corner. 16 pass deflections, 50 tackles, played in every game, but no interceptions. His coverage numbers were actually solid, but still not as good as Reed. He allowed over 700 yards. Low completion percentage, only 1 touchdown, so don't get me wrong, it's good. He was a good corner. He deserved to get paid, but I don't think we're talking about anything radically different than what Reed did last year. And again, Darby has the second-round pedigree. Darby has a little bit of size. Darby has a build that you could see as more of an outside corner. But Ronald Darby, his PFF grade from 2020 was 76. Again, I'm just seeing a bunch of these 10 million a year guys who signed before the cap was this big, guys who signed in recent off seasons when the cap was in some cases a lot smaller than it's going to be this off season. Uh, Next, Tavon Young, he signed an extension when he was 24 for 8.6 million a year off of a 2018. What did he do in 2018? Played in 15 games, one interception, five pass deflections, less than 50 tackles. Coverage metrics were decent, 62% completion, 435 yards, five touchdowns. So not terribly excited for these numbers compared to Reed. They're okay, but I don't think they're anything to really write home about. His PFF grade in 2018 was 62.7, so I think we've already kind of gotten past where DJ Reed should be. Go down the list a bit more. Michael Davis signed with the Chargers after 2020 for 8.4 million. Michael Davis in 2020 to earn that contract, he got, he played in every game, 3 interceptions, nice, 14 pass deflections, yeah, 64 tackles, good player. Coverage metrics, he got targeted over 100 times, 724 yards allowed, 60.6 completion percentage. He's good. Yeah, he's good. Almost an 80 QB rating. PFF grade 63.1 though. Just average player, average starter. Just fine, decent. So yeah, I think we've kind of gone a little too far at this point. We are talking about a player here that he's probably good. I think this PFF grade might be a little harsh on him, but he gets picked on in coverage, and he got 8.4 million. So to me, that should pretty well set the market for what you're looking at for DJ Reed here. And I think we can say that he's earned around 10 to 11 million a year. So my final summation on DJ Reed would be the contract that he gets offered on the market this offseason based off his play and factoring in these other things like his low pedigree, his size, his physical abilities, his attributes, his physical attributes. You're looking at about 3 years, 30 million to 33 million. I'll say 30 million. 3 years, 30 million for DJ Reed. Am I willing to do that? He's definitely worth it, but I can't do it. I got to spend that money elsewhere. Unless you backload the crap out of that contract, I can't do it. In order for me to be willing to do it, it needs to be somewhere around 3 years, 20 million. If you get me down to 3 years, 20 million, now I'm thinking to myself, all right, I can make that work. He's really good. He's valuable. He's going to be worth that easily. If he's willing to come back and play in Seattle for 3 years, 20 million, 21 million maybe, I'll make it work. But more than that, I can't do it. I got to spend money on this offensive line. I got to spend money on this running game. I got to spend money on the defensive line. So he's absolutely worth 10 million a year though. I think that's pretty conclusive here. I mean, Ronald Darby, what he did to get paid his 10 million a year was nowhere near what DJ Reed did in 2021 in my estimation. So that's my take. DJ Reed, 3 years, 30 million, and I can't do it. I would do 3 years, 21 tops. Let me know what you guys think down below. I know this is an interesting one for a lot of fans. Would you bring him back? What do you think he's going to be worth? What would you be willing to pay? Just spill your guts down below. And we have a tough decision coming up on this guy, but let me know which one you would make. See you guys later. Go Hawks.